Hello everyone, Grandpa Ron here again. Hope you're all having a great day. Hope you're excited to get back into our very basic Bible study. We're looking at the book of Joshua. And last week, or the last session, we talked about chapter 13, which was a review of the distribution of the land to the tribes on the east side of the Jordan River. And today we're going to look at chapter 14, which begins the description of how the land on the west side was divided among the remaining 9.5 tribes. So let's take a look and see what we can find here. Verse 1, chapter 14. Now these are the territories which the sons of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the households of the tribes of the sons of Israel apportioned to them for an inheritance. Now Moses had already provided a list of exactly who he wanted to participate in this division back in earlier writings. So this group is going to get together and they're going to divide up the land. Verse 2, by the lot of their inheritance, as the Lord commanded through Moses, for the 9 tribes and the half tribe. Not sure how the lot went, but a lot of commentators think that they went out and did a survey, which took quite a long time, and divided up the promised land into parcels, and that went into one jar. And then they had the tribes in another jar, and they would pick out a tribe out of the one jar and a piece of land out of the other jar. We're not sure that that's how it went, but that's a possibility. At any rate, we know that the allocations were fair and just, and since the tribes were different sizes, some tribes got bigger portions than others, just to fit their people onto the land. And so the lot worked out correctly, under God's providence, so that the bigger tribes got bigger parcels and the smaller tribes got smaller. But we don't know exactly how that mechanism worked, but it did work. So let's see what happened. Verse 3. For Moses had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes and the half tribe beyond the Jordan, but he did not give an inheritance to the Levites among them. So 2.5 tribes have already been given allocations on the east side of the Jordan. Verse 4. For the sons of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and they did not give a portion to the Levites in the land except cities to live in with their pasture lands for their livestock and for their property. So the Levites, one of the 12 tribes, were not given any property, and it's going to discuss this further in future chapters. But the sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, they were each given allocations, so that brought the total number of tribes given allocations to 12, the 12 tribes. But the tribe of Levi was not given an allocation of actual parcel, but they were given cities scattered all through the land of the other 12 tribes. In that way, there would be priests scattered all through the land. We're also going to see later that another tribe that had been promised they were going to be scattered is also scattered, but we'll cover that when we get to it. Verse 5. Thus the sons of Israel did just as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they divided the land. So now we're going to see how they start doing this. Verse 6, Then the sons of Judah drew near to Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, You know the word which the Lord spoke to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me, and Kadesh Barnea. Now Caleb is going to make a special request here, and he's going to go through a lengthy reminder to Joshua of what occurred previously. So let's see what he says. Verse 7. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought word back to him as it was in my heart. So he was among the spies, the original spies, along with Joshua, that went into the land. Nevertheless, my brethren who went up with me made the heart of the people melt with fear, but I followed the Lord my God fully. So remember, when the spies came back, they generally gave a bad report. The people are too large, the cities are too fortified. Oh my goodness, we can't possibly conquer this land. But Caleb and Joseph said, no, the Lord will give us the victory over these people, and we can do it. But because of that, the children did not go into the land, and God forced them to wander in the desert for almost 40 years until that unbelieving, unfaithful generation all passed away. Then the next generation were the ones that actually moved into the promised land. The only ones left were Joshua and Caleb. Verse 9, so Moses swore on that day, saying, surely the land on which your foot has trodden shall be an inheritance to you and to your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God fully. And now behold, the Lord has let me live just as he spoke these 40 years, from the time that the Lord spoke this word to Moses when Israel walked in the wilderness, and now behold, I am 85 years old. So he's saying, I want you to remember what's happened now. I know I'm 85, but let me say something about my age. Verse 11, I am still as strong today as I was in the day Moses sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now, for war and for going out and coming in. Whether this is an old man's boast or not, don't know, but it seems like he's in pretty good shape. And this is important because the land or the area he's going to request is still inhabited by foreign tribes, and they're going to have to drive them out. So remember, as this land is being divided, not all of it has been occupied yet. And what he's requesting here is land that's still occupied by pagans. Verse 12, now then, give me this hill country about which the Lord spoke on that day, for you heard on that day that Anakim were there, with great fortified cities. Perhaps the Lord will be with me, and I shall drive them out as the Lord has spoken. He's being modest in his faith here. He believes God will empower him to drive these people out. And later we're going to see that that's exactly true. Verse 13, so Joshua blessed him and gave him Hebron to Caleb, son of the Jephunneh, for an inheritance. So Caleb prevails. He gets this approval from Joshua and the others in the meeting. Verse 14, therefore Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, until this day, because he followed the Lord of Israel fully. So his faithfulness paid off. God's faithfulness is clearly evident too. Verse 15, now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba, for Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim. Then the land had rest from war. So this is kind of compressed, but basically what happened is Caleb asked for the land. He's given the land. He goes in and possesses it, and then there's peace. We're going to see later that he drives out several tribes there. That disheartened, when he drove out these powerful tribes, that pretty well disheartened the rest of these foreign inhabitants. And so from then on, it was kind of easy for the tribe of Judah to spread out and take over the property. Now, chapter 15, we're going to continue next time, but it's going to describe how the tribe of Judah, what their property is, the boundaries and all that, and some interesting things about that. And Caleb's property, since he is in the tribe of Judah, is within that. He is just within that allocation. So we're seeing the children of Israel follow through on God's command to divide up the property. It's a long process. It took some time. It just didn't happen overnight. Once they got their allocation, their kind of deed, then they had to go in and drive out the remaining people. And some of the tribes did that diligently and others did not. They allowed people to stay in their land that they shouldn't have. And we're going to read later on that it created problems for them. In order to keep the lesson short, we're going to stop there, but we're going to see this process continue next time, and we're going to see how there are going to be other special requests as well. We'll see how all that works out. I hope this has been interesting for you, and that you'll watch the next videos. In the meantime, God bless. Bye-bye.